You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
Go Tigers, 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 go Tigers.
You're now listening to Tough Tiger Talk with Big Q and the guys on the Pro Media Network.
What's going on, fam? You're now rocking with Tough Tiger Talk on the PRO Media Network. And boy, I tell you, man, when we take a team down, we really take them down. Actually, and I like the title of this one, Tough Tiger Talk. Number 2 ranked LSU destroys Mississippi State 36-13, and really, it should have been worse than that. They had some pity points later in the game at a late score to kind of lessen the blow, but 36-13, big win. Kind of slow in the first half, but what we tell you about football, it's a game of adjustments, and if you can't adjust, you'll die. It's like the story of the dinosaurs all over again. Let the rocks and the comets fall from the sky and smash them and extinct these bum teams. But anyway, we'd like to thank you for joining Tough Tiger Talk on this one, man. Welcome to Tough Tiger Talk. We're going to bring in Mazzi Five. I'm Big Q, of course. Mazzi Five is our Mr. LSU know-it-all. He's got all the information and the breakdown on LSU, so we're going to bring Mazzi Five in. How you doing tonight, Five?
I'm all right. I'm doing a lot better, man. Hey, listen. I was scared there for a minute, man, but I'm glad to be here tonight.
Oh, man, it was beautiful, man. I tell you what, it was a little slow early on, but you yourself predicted that. You yourself did say that it's going to be a little a slow-paced game, and it was a little slow at first, and ultimately until LSU took the reins and made the adjustments in the second half and blew the doors off this team. I mean, come on, this was pretty good. Actually, a lot of that happened right before halftime. If you remember, they had just about 5 minutes and 24 seconds left before the second half came in. Before halftime, and LSU exploded in the second quarter. They put up 19 points in the second quarter to begin the onslaught, and another additional 14 in the third to put it up 36-13. Defense did a good job of keeping after them. But before we get into statistics and the breakdown on this one, and Five gives you his thoughts on the game, here's Coach O after the Mississippi State game telling you his thoughts. Here's Coach O.
Right in our hand, there's some balls that were low, so we just weren't clicking on offense like we usually. I was proud to see Tyron getting up there. I thought he ran the ball very well.
How concerned were you settling for field goals and letting them hang around?
Yeah, didn't like it. I'll tell you that. Didn't like it for sure. And if it had been 4th and 1 or 2, maybe we would have went for it. But we wasn't clicking on offense, so we settled for the field goals. That's not like us. We got to look at what we did wrong in the red zone. And but you know what? Hey, it's going to happen. And we won the game, and that's what we came here to do.
Your defense kind of held them off the board for like 30 straight minutes before, almost 30 straight minutes before that.
Say it again.
Your defense held them off the board for almost the last 35 minutes.
Yeah.
How about while they got it going, your offense kind of clicked it in at the same time?
Yeah. I think that, like I'm saying, the defense came to play today. The turnovers really helped us, made it hard for their offense. I thought we did very well on defense, and it gave us a little time for the offense to get hot. I thought they got hot in the third quarter, the deep balls. Obviously, we took Joe out with about 9 minutes left. We could have scored more points, but we didn't want that to happen.
Coach, I know this team isn't really obsessed with stats, but Joe Burrow breaks the single-season passing touchdown for you guys.
Just it was testament to him, the receivers, the offensive line, the coaching. We just getting started though. We got a lot of football left, and I know Joe's not worried about records. I'll tell you, we're 7-0, and I think our team's a little upset about the way we played. I know our coaching staff is. I'm happy. I know I won't be as happy when I watch the film. There'll be some things to get done, but it's good for our football team. It'll get us hungry for next week.
Apparently, he told the CBS guys, if we play this way next week, we'll lose to Auburn.
Yeah, well, I don't care about that. I'm not talking like that.
After they cut the lead to 9-7, you responded immediately with a touchdown.
Yeah.
About the play call of racing wide open.
Yeah, really good call by Steve. And as soon as they scored, I could hear on the headset, we're going to respond. We got you, Coach. We're going to respond. They did. I thought it was a great play call by Steve. Again, the deep ball was there open. We should have probably went to it a little bit more.
Seems like Grant Delpit's kind of getting back to what he was last season. I guess, what do you think has been that process?
Tackling. I do believe the tackling. I do believe at the beginning of the year his shoulder was kind of bothering him a little bit. He was trying to overcompensate for his shoulder. Now he's just going playing free right now, and he's playing the type of ball he can play.
It's 3 straight weeks. Your defense really played well.
Yeah. Well, we're getting better. Obviously, having Richard Lawrence and Glenn Logan and Michael Devaney healthy and Kevin Chasson healthy and having a rotation, I don't think our guys were tired at all today. I think that makes a difference.
It seemed like Schrader, the quarterback, was pretty shifty. It looks like you guys had to get pretty creative on your right kicks.
Yeah, we had to. There was a lot of things. You know, we went to some blitzes. We went to some 4-man rushes, but it was centered the nickel and slanting the line. There was some stuff that we haven't done before. And still he avoided the rush at the end.
Coach K. York struggled today a little bit.
Yeah.
Hot, cold. What's that deal?
Hot goal. He's got to learn. He's got to be more consistent, you know, and he's our kicker for now. And we believe in Cade, and he's a freshman, though, and he's going to make those mistakes. But we need to be more efficient in the kicking game, no question.
Coach O, thoughts on the game, man? As usual, you can understand the coach breaking it down. Now, let's get to some statistics here before we get into the rest of our breakdown dealing with this game, because they kind of quantify everything as a whole. Looking at the first down, LSU and basically Mississippi State were tied in first downs in this one. Third down efficiency, LSU 3 of 11 versus 3 of 12 by Mississippi State. Total yards, Tigers 413 yards versus 340 yards by Mississippi State. Passing 327 versus 238. You look at the rushing, LSU, believe it or not, 86 yards rushing, really didn't make a difference. 102 yards by Mississippi State. And this one, penalties, 13 penalties by Mississippi State. Kind of buried them for 190 yards. LSU 7 for 88, got to clean it up. Time of possession, however, 25 minutes and 39 seconds by LSU, 34 minutes, 21 seconds by Mississippi State. The only thing they could do is put together 13 points. Very sad. They had 3 lost fumbles in this one and had thrown actually had 1 fumble loss and 2 interceptions thrown in this one. So big ups to LSU. 413 total yards versus 340. 3 turnovers by Mississippi State. And nonetheless, LSU improves, man, behind a gutsy performance by Joe Burrow, who sets LSU single-season touchdown passing mark. In a single season, he threw his record-setting 29th pass touchdown this season during the second half, putting the number 2 ranked Tigers just ahead of Mississippi State 36-7, and eventual 36-13 win. Now, Matt Malk, remember him from 203, he set the previous record of 28. Jamarcus Russell then tied it in 06, but Burrow took it to a higher level. He finished the game 25 of 32 for 327 yards, 4 touchdowns, and the senior transfer to LSU from last season has really turned it up. He and new game coordinator Joe Brady have helped LSU's offense transform into something we've never seen before, all the way, and they are pushing it all the way. Number 1 country in scoring, entering the weekend with 52.5. They didn't quite reach that baton, but still in all, they have major sights as Joey B sets the single season passing touchdown record. That is quite the feat for LSU, man. Big ups to LSU in this one. Now, before we get the rest of the individual statistics, Mazzi Five chiming in with us. Mazzi, let's give me your take on what you've seen happen in this game, man. LSU number 2 ranked Tigers improved to 7-0, 3-0 in conference by destroying Mississippi State. Thoughts on it, brother?
Well, like I told you earlier in the preview, it's quite obvious that this is a totally different LSU team. Shout out to Mississippi State. Again, they do play in the toughest conference in football. So, I mean, you can't really say that they're a subpar team, or you can't say they're a pushover team, because, I think you take Mississippi State and you put them in, you put them in maybe the Big East or the ACC or even maybe the Big 12, or definitely the Pac-12 as it is right now. And I think that, you might be looking at a 9-3, maybe 8-4, possibly even 10-2 team playing in those conferences. So by no stretch of the imagination was this an easy win for LSU. It's just a testament to how tough or how good LSU is. to beat to be number one undefeated in conference play, and number two to have put up the stats that they put up. You know, for the first time in a long time, I think a lot of people are angry, almost complaining that LSU only put up 36 points. I haven't heard that in, I don't know, 20 years. So, I mean, this is a great time for LSU football. You know, just to give you a testament to how tough the SEC is. Right now, I'm glancing over the Alabama-Tennessee game. Tennessee, even being at 2-4, has first and goal against Alabama. You know, so, I mean, you know, this is a very, very tough conference. Alabama's at home, by the way. Tennessee is apparently either about to strike with a field goal or a touchdown. Hopefully a touchdown. Go Tigers. But you know, this has gotta be a testament to how good the coaching staff is. Shout out to Coach O. Shout out to that offensive staff getting Burrow ready. And Burrow, man, if you hear him talking, you look at him. He's so. I don't know, everybody's gonna be mad with me. He's so Brady-esque when he talks, and when, you know, the conversations that he has. And I think Coach O might have been a little upset with him by the comment he made. We play like this next week, we'll lose. But I mean, hey, he called it how he saw it. You know, I mean, it wasn't a politically correct statement by any stretch of the imagination, but you can definitely tell a coach's son, because he told the absolute truth right there. We cannot go into the Auburn game flat-footed as we were with the Mississippi State game, because, you know, we will lose. And you know, I think that we'll rebound. We'll study the game tape, and we'll rebound, and we'll put it together. And I think we won't come out as flat-footed. I think we did, although nobody wants to admit it, I think that we did kind of overlook Mississippi State, looking at the eye on the prize, the third after this week top 10 opponent in Auburn. And I think that is something that we got away with today. But again, moving forward, we can't do that next week, and we damn sure can't do it 3 weeks from now going into the Alabama game.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, well, you're right. It's a level of competition that's ratcheted up. We could we'd be happy about the fact that they did stump Mississippi State. This was expected. Although I did expect Mississippi State to play like they did in the first half in terms of the defense stepping up and doing what they were doing. But eventually I knew that the dam would burst, because they couldn't hurl back what LSU's offense is. And when they just made those adjustments, and you see Joey Burrow was able to catch him going deep, had one guy flying. When the dam broke, it was over with. We knew Mississippi State had to keep it a scoring affair. And what was my original score? I think I put over that 5. I think I forgot what my score. I'm going to have to go back and look at it.
I think it was 42-17.
42-17.
And I was at 38-17. We both had 21. Almost. Well, you were at 21 points, but then you kind of slid it up a little bit to the 42. Well, no, you were 42-21. I think you said. Yeah, you gave them a lot more credit than I guess what they deserved. But you know, keep in mind, we did miss an extra point, and we did take Joey B out with 9 minutes to go in the game. You know, to help conserve any injuries that may occur to him. So I think that you could have been well on the mark as far as LSU anyway. Mississippi State didn't stand a chance.
Yeah, we were a little bit generous with them. I thought they would be able to muster up at least a touchdown to go with what they were doing, but LSU's defense credit them to being able to stop this team and shut them down. Before we continue with the rest of our analysis and statistical breakdown on this game, here's Joey Burrow to talk about the win over Mississippi State.
Yeah, we just started off slow. You know, we were moving the ball, but we just, you know, we didn't execute the way we had been in the red zone, and that's credit to them. And, you know, I could feel a little less energy before the game, so that was probably had to do with some of it.
It looked like they were sending a lot of successful pressure at you. I mean, how did you kind of counter that? How did you feel that throughout the game?
So we were keeping our back in early in the game, and they were green dogging, which means when the back is to the running back block, they splits. And so in the second half and late in the second quarter, we just started spreading them out, getting everybody out and around, and it kind of calmed them down a little bit.
When you say you didn't see the same energy today, I guess when in the day do you start maybe noticing that?
First thing in the morning. You know, you could tell that people weren't quite as locked in as they had been. But it's always good to get an SEC.
Did you notice they were looking at the running backs there and blitzing after that?
Yeah.
How do you kind of I don't know, at what point did you kind of notice that?
I mean, we knew coming in that they were going to do some of it. We didn't know how much they were going to do, but, you know, you feel it just as the game goes on. In the first quarter, you could feel in the back blocks, you know, they just started triggering. So, you know, we just got 5 guys on the route after that.
What was it about kind of the bunch formation or the route combination that got Racy so open on that touchdown?
Well, it was probably miscommunication on the defense. You know, it was a good call by Coach Steve, and, you know, we executed it well.
Joe, in the CBS postgame interview, apparently you said if we play this way next week, we'll get beat. You feel that way?
Yeah, absolutely. If we don't, I think we're going to have to execute much better in the red zone next week. You know, we're not going to get as many chances as we did this week because they're good on offense. They run the ball, and one of the better defenses we're going to play all year, so we're going to have to execute in the red zone.
Joe, you're not used to kicking field goals after the first 3. How was that frustration, and what was your demeanor after the second one?
Yeah, there was frustration for sure. We were used to scoring just about every time we touched the ball, but there was no panic. So we knew that, you know, we were moving the ball. We just had to execute better at the end of the drives.
Did you feel like you had to pick everybody up after the third one, maybe? Or?
No, I really didn't. You know, we're a mature team that understands what we can do.
You, of course, broke the LSU single-season passing touchdowns record today. How significant is that mark for you?
This thing just shows the amount of work we put in off-season. Game 7, we broke the touchdown record. We're going to have 2 guys break single-season receiving touchdowns record here coming up. So, you know, I think, you know, it's obviously a great achievement for us, but, you know, we still got 5 games left.
That's spoken like a true quarterback, and as Five astutely called him, it was quite Brady-esque. Get used to that, Joy Burrow. Get used to those comparisons because what you're doing, man, is in LSU is absolutely outstanding, man. To be Brady and Ernst Mingle working together with the offense to perfection. I love exactly what LSU's doing with this offense. It's beautiful, quite masterful. Looking at some of the statistics dealing in this game, the individual statistics, Joy Burrow, like we said, 25 of 32 for 327 yards. He averaged 10.2 yards a throw. That's every time he stepped back and threw the ball, it was a first down. He had 4 touchdowns in this game. 87.5 on the QBR. Absolutely insane. 25 of 32 for 327 and an astounding 10.2 average per throw. That is absolutely amazing. Clyde Edwards-Helaire wasn't special in this game. 11 carries for 53 yards, averaged just under 5 yards a rush. Tyron Davis-Price had 6 carries for 49 yards on the day, and the rest of the running backs, not much to talk about. Joey Burrow did have 4 carries for minus 11 yards in this one. Justin Jefferson, who's one of Five's favorites, 8 catches, 89 yards, 1 touchdown in the matchup. He averaged 11 yards every time he caught the ball. Masterful. Jamar Chase, one of my favorites, he had 5 catches for 48 yards and a touchdown. He averaged almost 10 yards a catch. And then you have Racy McMath, who played a big one in this one. He had 3 catches for 76 yards and 1 touchdown. He had a 60-yard scamper. 25.3 average per catch for Racy McMath. And then Thaddeus Moss, the son of Randy, 3 catches, 48 yards in this one. He averaged about 16 yards a catch. Derek Dillon, big ups to him. He finally got going. 1 catch for 37 yards, in which it was a deep one for a touchdown that helped him get going. And then, of course, a couple of catches by Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Stephen Sullivan, and 1 catch by Tyron Davis-Price in the matchup. Of course, we talk about Joe Burrow. He did have a miscue. He fumbled the ball, but then, of course, he recovered it. Wasn't so bad. Defensively, Grant Delpit was the man. Special player, Grant Delpit. 11 tackles on the day. He had 1 QB hurry. Kerry Vincent Jr., 8 tackles on the day. Jacob Phillips had 8 tackles. So did Jacoby Stevens in this one. He also had a sack and a tackle for loss for Jacoby Stevens. Michael Divinity Jr. had 4 tackles in the sack, 2 tackles for loss in the QB hurry. Patrick McQueen, 3 tackles on the night and a tackle for loss. Damone Clark had 3 tackles as well. Christian Fulton had 3 tackles and 2 pass defenses. Rashard Lawrence had 3 tackles in the matchup. So did Neil Farrell Jr. And then a couple of tackles apiece by Brennan Fehoko, Cameron Lewis, Clavion Chasen, and Tyler Shelvin. So a few of these guys played. Mika Baskerville also had a couple of tackles in him. And, of course, Troy Carter, Marcel Brooks, Jay Ward, Glenn Logan, Aaron Moffitt, Justin Thomas, and Siaki Ika. All those guys contributed with a tackle. 2 players with sacks in the game. Jacoby Stevens had a sack, and Michael Divinity Jr. got a sack in the matchup. Interceptions, Jacoby Stevens also had an interception along with Christian Fulton. In the turnover game, they look pretty good. Now, you talk about Cade York, 3 for 3, missed the extra point, went 3 of 4, but contributed 12 points to the effort. And big ups to punter Zach Von Rosenberg. He had 5 punts for 233 yards, averaged just under 47 yards per punt. Had a couple of, and he put a couple of them inside the 20, as long as with the 57 yards. So the special teams was solid in this matchup against Mississippi State. Now, before I prattle on some of the stats, they forced Garrett, the defense of LSU, forced Garrett Schrader, the Mississippi State quarterback, into a really dismal game. He was 17 of 28, had 238 yards, but a touchdown, 2 interceptions, and a dreadful 41.2 on the QB rating for him. So, and also a great move by this team. They shut Cleveland Hill down. Now, this guy was one of the best running backs in the SEC. They shut him down. He had 15 carries for 34 yards. He averaged less than 2.5 yards per carry in this one. So big ups to LSU's defenses. They did a really good number on Mississippi State, shutting them and demoralizing them, forcing them down to 3-4, 1-3 conference, as number 2 LSU climbs 7-0 and 3-0 in conference. Based on Joey Burrows, the stats that I just prattled off, Mazzi, thoughts on everything, man? What's in your mind on this stuff here, man? This is all good.
Yeah, it's all good. Can't find one bad thing to say about the offensive LSU. No, not the defensive LSU for that matter, because to say that the offense played, I'm not gonna say horrifically, but I would definitely say for the first quarter and a half they were real lackadaisical, and the defense definitely kept them in there, because I'm gonna just be honest with you, anybody else who would have scored or who would have been in the red zone 3 times, but only was able to amass 9 points, they got the doors blew off of them. But that Tiger defense kept them in the game, and it kept them kicking and swimming long enough for them to find exactly where they needed to fit in at. And then once they got the train going, I mean, it was really, really hard to stop it. So, again, shout out to LSU as a team, both offense and defense. And the defense is like to step up really, really big next week. However, I will say that going forward to the Auburn game, I mean, we got to kind of have the same blueprint that Florida had when they beat them, which was a real grinded out aspect of running the ball and stopping the run. So I think if we can do those 2 things, we'll open up a passing attack with Joey B at the helm, and I think that we'll bombs away it. And I'm looking for a really, really big game from Jefferson. Again, I'm looking for a Thaddeus Moss to come on and really have a breakout game. We've been waiting for him for quite some time since he transferred out from NC State to have a big game. Obviously, as you still coined him, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I think that he'll have a big game next week. So, Mississippi State is over with. Hats off some, and it was a great game. But at the end of the day, LSU was just too much. But I want you guys to kind of juggle this around, right? Out of the top 10, after the Wisconsin loss today, out of the top 10, we'll have 5 of the top 10 football programs in NCAA Division I football out of the Southeastern Conference. That's just the top 10. That doesn't have anything to do with Mizzou floating around, at 24, 25. That'd be a total of 6 teams out of one conference.
That's insane.
That's insane. And, A&M is only a game or 2 away. They might finish the year ranked 24, 25. So you got a potentially to have 7 teams from one conference in the top 25, 5 of which being in the top 10. What's that? Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Florida, and Auburn.
Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, man, it's just insane the level of competition week in and week out. I bring that up again, not to undermine or kind of put Mississippi State away and say, oh, well, they're just some pushover team. I mean, these are the same people that have to play the Auburns and Alabamas and LSUs and Floridas and Georgias. And, I mean, these are the same people that have to play week in and week out. They have to play these people. That's got to be daunting, you know, and that you know, they'll figure out something. I mean, obviously, and it's a dogfight to get the recruits. Anytime you have that level of competition and that level of talent scattered throughout, it's just hard for them to get the 4- and 5-star recruits that they're going to need to compete in, you know, with those teams year in and year out. But, you know, entertaining to watch, you know, even the Mississippi States, Tennessees, Vanderbilts, even those schools make it very, very interesting football to watch. And, you know, sometimes we have nail-biter games and upset alerts and, you know, everything else. But, I mean, the disparity, for instance, like I was explaining to you earlier with the Big Ten Conference, we watched Wisconsin today go down, you know, to Illinois. You know, that would never happen in the SEC. Now, can an SEC team of a lower rank beat another SEC school? Absolutely. But we're not going to let, like, Boise State or Bowling Green come in and just beat us. You know, it's just not going to happen.
Right.
Sorry, it's just not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen here. That's true.
So, you know, again, hats off to Mississippi State. That chapter of the book is closed. We're looking forward to going out to or Auburn coming to Baton Rouge. That'll be, what, a 2:30 game, I believe. And then we got our sight set on the prize 2 weeks after that. Would be Brian Denny, you know, better to defeat the Crimson Tide and sit on top of the SEC throne.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, over the 102,000+ people in capacity at Tiger Stadium, Death Valley, it's going to be in full effect. I wouldn't be surprised if they flex this game to an afternoon game, to be quite honest with you. You're right. It is set up for 2:30 and on CBS next Saturday in Death Valley. Wouldn't be surprised if they flex this to a 7 o'clock game, to be honest with you.
I would definitely not be surprised. I think that, you know, for ratings purposes, because obviously Alabama's not going to play anybody. Who are they going to play? Like, playing like St. Aug or somebody next week or whatever. So, I mean, obviously they're not playing anybody because they never play anybody. But, man, if they move that to a 7 o'clock game, man, that'd be awesome. And I think that with Auburn winning, Wisconsin losing, a couple of things are going to move around. I definitely think that Auburn's going to go up a couple ticks. I know Georgia should probably fall around 8. No, I'm sorry, Florida should fall around 7, 8. Georgia should clock in somewhere around 8, 9. Got to squeeze Auburn in somewhere around 9, 10. I mean, so, you know, and LSU, depending on the outcome of this game, you know, and I know you and I are in disagreement to that, but depending on the outcome of this Tennessee game, you know, LSU, you know, with the output that Joey B had, you know, considering he got taken out with 9 minutes to go in the game, that score could have easily gotten north of 45 points or so with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So I think if they look at it as a whole and take that into account, you know, LSU might be able to leapfrog. I'm kind of optimistic. You're kind of pessimistic. But, hey, either way, number 2 versus number 10, which is what I'm thinking. SEC game, night game, Death Valley. I can easily see that being the game of the week and being bumped to a 7 o'clock game.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Right now, to get to your thought process dealing with Alabama, they're up on Tennessee 21-10 right now, and with 9 minutes left in the second. So I would love to see. I mean, it's like you said astutely at the end of the last show, man. It is what it is. Alabama is they're wiping the floor with the Volunteers, who voluntarily taking that ass whooping 21-10 right now, and they'll continue. But another prideful mention is a fact that Tulane Green Wave right now they're playing as well. They're playing the Memphis Tigers. They're losing by 40-10 right now. With 7:53 remaining in the third quarter, so expect that to be a win. Tulane had a little streak going, about 5 games, but Memphis about to get it out of them. But
Memphis is a good team this year. It's the first time I've seen a football program ranked in about 5-6 years. What are they, like number 24, 23? I know at one point they were. I kind of lost track of them, but I mean Memphis has a hell of a team. Predominantly, traditionally a basketball school.
Right.
But I mean, we got some up and coming SMU. They're back in the picture. And SEC fans need to kind of circle that Penn State game because Michigan is playing Penn State right now, and Michigan, at 16, I believe, 15-16, playing the number 7 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. And I think what people have to keep into account, because I do this college, I love college football. What you have to keep into account is the higher ranked the teams that you've beaten are, right?
Mm-hmm.
The strength of schedule for you when it comes to BCS compilations, it kind of goes up into your favor. So, for instance, if this number 7 Nittany Lion team were to fall, that means there'll be 2 empty slots in the top 10. So that Florida team that you handily beat by 14 points would be a shoe-in for number 8, 7, 8, 9. So when you start looking at stuff like that, you got a team, an 8th-ranked team that you beat. You understand? Texas definitely still in the hunt. I think they're number 15, 14, somewhere in that area. That team would go up. And you beat both of these teams. Auburn obviously will go up because they're only lost being to Florida. So they'll go up in the rankings. You play them next week, you beat them. So that kind of plays into the schedule, especially LSU, playing and handily beating these ranked opponents. I think Texas was probably the hardest game they had all year. I can't really fault it. We were playing over there first couple games of the season. But you got to always keep in mind, man, that strength of schedule as far as BCS contention is very, very important. So, we don't always want our opposing teams to be dumpster fires. We kind of want them to, rise to the occasion because the higher ranked they are after, us beating them, I think that's going to be the more glory that we would get and the more icing on top of the cake, especially from a BCS standpoint.
Very well said. I agree with everything you said. That was that was really astutely mentioned because you're talking about some of these BCS formulas dealing with who competes for the national championship, or better yet, who gets in position to go into the college playoffs. You look at some of these teams who are up there, and about Alabama, who's taking care of business against Tennessee right now. Then, of course, LSU took care of business today against Mississippi State. But then Clemson took care of business against Louisville. They beat them by 35 points today to hold their slot. And then you look at a team like Wisconsin, you talk about they lost by 1 point to Illinois in a surprising fashion. So it's a lot to say. But, in the team that the Tigers are getting ready to put them on against, and then, of course, Ohio State, not to make mention of them, they destroyed Northwestern today, 52-3. So, I mean, Ohio State, me and you talked about the fact that they basically, it's almost like they was given a subsidy to give them more power points to be able to leapfrog everybody into the top standards. It's easy when you've beaten piddling teams like Northwestern and Michigan State, some of these teams that don't have their stuff together. But you look at what Auburn did today against Arkansas. Auburn destroyed Arkansas 51-10 in Arkansas. So, I mean,
an Arkansas team that could go to the Pac-12 and finish third or second in that conference, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it, because the only competition you're looking at in their conference besides Ohio State is Michigan, perhaps Penn State. So, I mean, you have a few things going on. I mean, it speaks to, to the level of competition. I guess you beat whoever you play against, and you can't be blamed for that. But Texas got away with that for years when they were by themselves in their conference, destroying everything. Baylor and TCU and all these little other teams, they were just literally taking them apart and playing for the national championships and being ranked number 1, number 2 every year when Mac Brown was there. So they took advantage of that as well. And of course, one of the biggest people that take advantages of it are Notre Dame, playing in the independents. Who the hell do they play? So I mean, right. So SEC is the cream of the crop. And I hear people talking Pac-10 and all that kind of stuff, but listen, at the end of the day, the SEC is the cream of the crop when it comes down to college football. We just mentioned it. Mazzi laid it out about the top 6 or 7 clubs out of the SEC are ranking or moving around inside the top 25, with at least 5 of them are perennial shots to play for a national championship. If you're going to have at least one person, Alabama's going to play. You got LSU up there, 1 and 2. That's 2 SEC schools. So you have 2 SEC schools that play for the national championship. What does that tell you? And you got Georgia hovering around, all that kind of stuff. So I agree with everything you're saying, Five. I think you're making great sense with the commentary, big up in the SEC schools and letting them know and let the conference and the world know and the country know how good the SEC is really in college football. No doubt about it.
Yep. Just think about it. If the SEC schools didn't play each other, it'd be 4 SEC schools in the playoffs every year.
Yeah. Pretty much. Every year.
I can easily see Georgia and Florida playing Alabama and LSU. And I don't think anybody, I mean, of course they'd have the respective fan bases to be, kind of pissed about it. But, I mean, when you really look at it, do you think Ohio State can beat Georgia? I don't think they could. Do you think Penn State? Do you think Penn State can beat Florida? I don't think so.
It'll be a good one. But that depends on where they play, too. Because if you're playing at Penn State, when you play up there, man, it's a whole nother world. And they feed off of that. But Penn State going down to the swamp in Florida and beating Florida Gators, I wouldn't say so. But that would be a good matchup. But you're right. Taking Penn State, taking Michigan, taking Ohio State, and matching them against teams like Georgia, teams like Auburn, teams like Alabama. If you look at teams like Clemson, who have a propensity, they have gotten wins in the national championship over Nick Saban, and that has been his kryptonite going up against Clemson. And they are a different type of club if you look at them. But at the end of the day, the matchups, we all know it. It's the same adage when we do our boxing shows. We talk about styles make fights. And when you talk about styles make fights, you look at the SEC and what they're bringing: stiff, hard defense, really explosive offense. I just think that the SEC has an advantage over other conferences in the country. That's just my thinking, and a lot of people see it as such. And obviously, the polls, if you don't agree, and if you're a Michigan State or anybody else, a Michigan or Penn State fan, and you're listening to the show, please don't feel slighted. Just look at the rankings. Just look at the AP poll and see that we got you beat with teams all over the place. And it's just what it is. SEC rules. Bottom line.
Bottom line. There's no other way to put it. And, again, Clemson has been the kryptonite of Nick Saban, but, I think we look a lot into that, and we give that a lot of life. But, what I see an Alabama team who, compared to an LSU or another SEC team, may have a slightly weaker or lighter schedule. That back half of the schedule when they get in the conference play is pretty brutal. And Clemson just does not play as a brutal of a schedule, from a week-to-week, everyday dogfight schedule. Even like the Tennessee game in Alabama, Clemson there's no one in the Big East or the ACC that I could see, with the exception of maybe Miami, maybe Central Florida, that could maybe even hang with some of the lower class SEC teams. But Alabama has to play these teams in and out every week, starting from week 6 to week 12, and then including the SEC championship, 7 straight weeks of this brutality. Clemson doesn't have that. So by the time they get to the national title game, the level of competition has been so weak. It's been so mundane. When they get there, there's nobody to play. So it's like, okay, well, it's just whatever. And, we glorify these other teams, but they don't play anybody. And when it comes to the big game, Alabama's kind of bruised. People are just healing from injuries. Even though they have that month off, some of these kids, man, it's just brutal. So, I really don't see Clemson as being kryptonite so much as, they don't play anybody. So they're fresh. They're fresh, they're way more preserved and fresh than an LSU or an Alabama or Florida would be going into that national title game. That's just my opinion.
Okay, well stated. Regardless of SEC powerhouse or not, they can in Clemson people could also throw in the conversation. They can make a case and say that okay, despite the fact that SEC or Alabama has such a brutal schedule and we do not, we still use our piddling teams to prepare, and we have won the multitude of times that we've come in contact with Alabama at the national championship level. So Dabo Swinney has adjusted to what Nick Saban does, and he knows it. And what they played 3 times, Clemson got 2 of the 3. So I mean, Sweeney's a master adjuster, it appears, for Nick Saban. But maybe this year we can give him a little something different. Let's put LSU up against Clemson or whoever got the gumption. Probably be LSU and Alabama when it come down to it anyway. So we're ready to see them twice.
It would be a travesty if LSU and Alabama had to meet in the playoffs, because I would definitely like to see a winner take all rematch in the title game. So moving forward, I'm gonna give my bold predictions. I'm gonna say my playoff selection at this point. I'm gonna say, and you're not gonna like this.
Oh, come on, split out. Hear it with a 5. We about to clock out, brother. Just throw it at him right quick.
All right, I'm gonna say LSU, Clemson, Alabama, and Florida.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna come back, family, later on with the preview of LSU and Auburn. So thank you for joining us.
HomeBistro.com. Freshly prepared, home delivered, restaurant quality gourmet meals delivered straight to your home. Choose from over 50 plus gourmet meal options cooked by world-class chefs and delivered frozen, ready to eat within minutes and no commit. Welcome to the one-shop gourmet food delivery, specialized affordable options to eat right and feel great. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Every ingredient is handpicked to the highest standard. And why you should buy from HomeBistro.com? Restaurant quality, made with natural ingredients, delivered right to your door. Overnight shopping is available. Diabetic, paleo, heart health, and vegetarian options to eat. Doing business since 1999. Courteous, knowledgeable, and professional support. Complete PCI compliant SSL security ordering, and great meals. Choose from some of my favorite dishes: the Mediterranean chicken with orange honey sauce, the charbroiled chicken romesco, or the grilled chicken breast with sweet and spicy vegetables. No matter what you choose, you can't lose with HomeBistro.com. Eat great, feel good, and save some money with HomeBistro.com. Hit the link in the description section below for more information.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is The Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out The Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, and even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us.
Embrace Pet Insurance is more than just pet insurance. Embrace Pet Insurance promises to provide genuine support and certainty when your pet needs it the most. With personalized accident and illness policies, compassionate customer care, 24/7 access to veterinary professionals, flexible wellness plans, timely claims processing, and online customer portals, their values is what makes them Embrace. So, when selecting a pet insurance company as a partner in your pet's care, you deserve a company that has your pet's best interests at heart. Get top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Up to 90% back on bills at any vet, total protection, pet insurance and wellness, and dependable claims payments. Get the top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Go to EmbracePetInsurance.com. That's EmbracePetInsurance.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.